Okay, we're here back on, what did I call this last time? This is different because you're not John. Okay, yeah, so I'm doing another like full talk video about skateboarding again. As you guys know, I've done a few of these, and you guys seem to like them. And also, a suggestion that I have been getting in the comments is to get another person on that isn't John. Obviously, John isn't going to be going anywhere. I'm going to have John on here again, but none the other than Bryan Betts. Here he is, guys.
Hey.
And Bryan is pretty well, what did I say yesterday? He's within the know, and he's like in the circle within the industry. He knows a lot of people. He skates with Leo and Dakota Servold all the time on his channel. I just want to talk industry BS with him because we always get into heavy conversations about
arguments.
Yeah, and arguments, yeah. And I like it too because Bryan's opinionated and I'm kind of opinionated, so we have like really good conversations. Those are the best conversations. About shoes, being pro, where the future of skateboarding is going.
I mean, I think skateboarding, I think it's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, the industry sucks. Skateboarders suck. People that think they're skateboarders suck. Ex-skateboarders suck. Old skateboarders suck. Everybody knows everything about everything. Everybody sucks.
Yeah. I have a handful of like just pretentious people within skateboarding that like it's a very archaic and childish mentality to be like, okay, I'm better than so and so because I can do a certain trick or I can do better things. We have an airplane coming. I think that's why a lot of people either give up on their skateboarding dream or they just shy away from skateboarding in general because they realize like how like there's a lot of scummy people in the industry and they're like,
oh yeah, I mean that like the industry is it's the worst. Like the industry is so biased.
Yeah, we're not being like negative. We're just being truthful and honest with our own experience. Someone else could have a completely different experience than us, so you're only hearing what we have to say from our experience. So nothing that we're saying is fact.
Well, and I haven't actually, it's like with my experience, I haven't really experienced anything bad from the industry. It's just from the people that I hang out with.
Right.
Like the stuff that they go through.
And we were talking about this earlier too. In terms of going pro, we were talking about skill versus like marketability and
skill
style.
Yeah, skill versus style.
Yeah,
Huge.
and a lot of people have been commenting about that as well. So like, I favor somebody who can do a trick well over somebody who can flip their board as many times as they possibly can. And but that's just my preference. Like, but if they can flip their board as many times as they can and it looks really sick, like that's also cool too. And I mean, realistically, like I don't even care like how you skate. If the person that's having the most fun skating is like the best. That's like all that matters. Like when it comes down to skateboarding. But the industry doesn't see it that way. Like if you can sell product, that's what's going to guarantee you.
The only thing that's going to guarantee you a spot on somebody's team is if you can sell product. Or,
right.
You know, I mean, there's like people like.
But there's a lot of factors that go into that too. It's all about your interaction with kids, how you can sell product, how you dress, how you do your tricks, like what kind of response you get and what kind of feedback you get from like the people that watch skateboarding. Is that accurate?
I think so. But I love skateboarding.
Yeah, no,
I hate everything about it, but I love doing it. But there's one really big point. Like we could even use Tanner for example. Tanner's young. He's really good at skateboarding. He has good style. Like he went with like a year without boards.
Yeah.
Like had to buy boards. Like, and then there's somebody who, you know, is a complete idiot, and they get 20 boards a month.
Yeah, and they're like dicks to kids.
Yeah, and they're just like they don't deserve it. But if somebody's working super hard, he deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole industry is just the whole perception of what a good skateboarder is completely skewed. It's like it's so much different than it used to be, like in the 0 days.
Like the flip days, the sorry days.
Yeah, like those people were so good at skateboarding and they were recognized for it. Nowadays, they're not recognized. Like,
you got to think about this too, though. There's so many more kids that skate now, and there's so many more kids that are also good at skateboarding. Therefore, there's an oversaturated and abundance of kids that are good at skateboarding. And if everybody was hooked up, and if everybody was hooked up and sponsored and pro, then there would be nobody left to buy the pro boards.
See, and like with like your video you did 2 days ago where you're talking about the pro boards and like blank and
right, I want to mention this too.
Like it's the pro boards, like kids buying those pro boards is what keeps skateboarding alive, and it's what's going to keep pros getting paid, pro skateboarding, boards getting into shops where, you know, I back shop boards, I back blink boards. I'm skating a blink board right now.
Yeah.
You know, that blink board, I got it under weird circumstances, like that person that I got it from is riding a blink board.
Right.
But, you know, Like that's blink boards and shot boards are bringing down the industry.
Right.
Like, you know, these kids are like, oh,
At least the hard good side of the industry.
Yeah. And like kids are like, oh, I can buy this board for $30, or I can buy that board with the graphic on it for $50. Why do I buy this blank?
It's a very fine line and like touchy topic to talk about, and I'm glad Bryan brought this up because we got in a conversation about this, and I do want to clarify that like in no way was I trying to tell people to go buy a shop board over buying a pro board. There was a ton of comments about it. Obviously, like I'm not going to be able to respond to all of them. There's certain people saying like that my opinion was whatever, but it wasn't, and it's not even an opinion. What I was saying was basically the truth, but I'm not saying that shop boards are better than pro boards. I reiterated multiple times that like skateboarding is about preference and it's all about who you want to support, and that's the tightest thing about skateboarding is that you have the freedom to do so.
And what I fully back people buying pro boards, like professional boards.
Right.
Like not even like, I don't like team boards. I like people's name to be on the bottom of my skateboard because then I'm supporting that person.
Are you joking?
Tanner just front blended the rail for
Instagram.
That was
Tanner.
so sick. Yeah.
Okay, but bringing this back to one thing, a lot of people have been wanting me to also talk about style versus skill. Now that is something that I would really not be able to go out and compare and like find a skill skateboarder, find a style skateboarder. Yeah, I could, but you can't really sit down and compare the two and say one is better than the other. That's the point. So
I can.
I mean, you can, but that's an opinion.
Yeah, it's opinion. Skateboarding's all opinion based.
Right.
Everything about it.
And there's heavy opinions within skateboarding. Yeah, this is something that we're just gonna talk about. This isn't gonna be like there's no way to really go out and test this. Like I said, you can go and grab a skillful skateboarder and a style skateboarder. I don't think one is better, but I tend to lean more towards appreciating a style skateboarder than, I guess.
Let's use Brad Cromer for example.
Okay, yeah.
Where Brad is, he can do
We're biased on this issue because Brad is both of our favorite skateboarders.
Yeah, so he can do anything he wants on a skateboard. He looks amazing on his board.
Yeah, anything he does.
Like, and the spots that he chooses to do and the tricks that he chooses to do on those spots, they're perfect.
Right.
But then there's somebody, let's say somebody goes to the same spot and does the same trick, it'll never even compare to the way that Brad did it.
Right.
In the same way with, you know, with John Alley in the 0 days when you nose grind some handrail.
Right.
Like I'm sure somebody's nose grinded the same handrail, but it's not gonna look the same because John Alley did it his way and he did it so good, and he just made it like I could nose grind that handrail.
Right, and for the sake of the argument, to play devil's advocate, a lot of people would say that like a very technical skateboarder can have style and would have style, and that is true. But not in the same way. Like it's a style in a sense that like it's very polished. It looks like, okay, yes, he did all of those tricks very well, but how do I say this?
Okay, let's use for example. He still has that little kid style, you know, like, which isn't bad. He's still a younger kid. He's like what, 17 or 18?
Yeah.
Like, so he's still a younger guy, but he doesn't, like, very talented. He does big rails.
Did you watch his new part?
I did, yeah. I watched it last night at midnight.
It was so good.
Yeah, it was good. But I'm never going to watch it again. And that's what I mean. Like, I'm never going to go and actively search for that part because I don't like the way that he dresses, and I don't like the tricks that he chooses to do on the spots that he goes to.
Well, and the thing is too, though, but some people might also disagree.
That's the thing, though. I'm going to use as another example.
Yeah.
Skillful, he's not that good at skateboarding, but he looks really good on a board. Has all the sponsors you could ever want. Every sponsor he could want, he could get. But that dude should not be a professional skateboarder.
You don't think so?
Not at all. I mean, he ollies a lot of stuff, and he power slides, and he hikes his pants up and ties them on the bottom. Like, that's what kids want to see, and that sells, and that's great.
Yeah.
He does not give a shit, and he shouldn't, because he's making money, and he rides for that's a sick company. Like, but should he be pro? Probably not.
Because that's the argument that people are always asking. People can be skilled and have style too. And yes, those are very few rarities, like a Shad Ware. A Shad
and Shane O'Neill and Paul Rodriguez, and
they have good style. They're not like, and a subject that's been beaten into the ground. So when people have skill, like the robotic style that people don't like because it's so generic and cookie cutter, I think that is what people are mostly talking about when they say skill versus style.
Yeah.
And I almost think that the argument between skill versus style is the wrong argument to be having. I think the argument to be having is the two verses of styles, the very stylish skateboarder and the very bland stylish skateboarder, because you can be skilled and be very stylish, i.e. Ashad Ware, Shane O'Neill. That's the thing though, the style that is currently marketable, because there will be different styles in skateboarding at different periods of time that are more marketable than others. So if you have a style that was marketable in 2006 that is no longer marketable, that doesn't mean that your style that you're not stylish. It just means you're not on the marketable side. And fortunately for Brad, he has a pretty timeless marketable style.
I mean, Brad's a one of a kind though.
Yeah.
You know.
We just stopped talking about him so much.
Yeah. Sorry, Brad.
Sorry, Brad.
Sorry to make you feel uncomfortable.
I don't even know him really well. He kept us over my motorcycle.
He did. Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah.
But me, like, I guess I'm more of a, I'm very biased when it comes to skateboarding because I know what I like.
He is very biased.
I know what I like and I know what I don't like.
Yeah.
And if I don't like it, I'm not gonna put any time or effort or.
I always try to find the appreciation in everything, even things that I don't necessarily like. I try to look for like
I don't.
What I like. What can I like about this? What can I appreciate in this? Just because I don't know. But I'm also opinionated too.
I just grew up watching the same people over and over again. And when I see something that's different than that, I'm like, I hate that.
Yeah.
I'm not into that at all.
Yeah. All right, I want to thank Bryan for coming on to the show.
I'm sorry we just went in circles and we never even really like established or talked about anything.
About what?
About everything. I feel like we didn't really
come to a conclusion.
Yeah. I think what the conclusion is, and I'm going to say it right now, it's all about what you like. That's it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you don't.
It's funny because I got a comment the other day, stop doing the versus videos with like do them with more of an objective comparison. And I actually thought it was good feedback, but that's kind of like what just happened. Like we didn't really get to a conclusion. But that's true though. Like I'm not going to sit here and talk to the camera and bash on certain people or
Make sure you bleep out all the names that I said.
Yeah, I will. But I'm not going to sit here and like bash on certain people and say that style is better than skill or skill is better than style, because there's so much to appreciate about each quality. Like you can't really say one is better than the other. What do I prefer? I tend to prefer style if I have to pick, but if I can choose somebody like Ashad Ware who has style, but he's one of a kind.
You know one thing that does piss me off when people say this?
What?
They're like, oh yeah, they're from the East Coast, so they have better style. They can't do as hard of tricks.
Oh yeah.
That's insane.
But people do actually use the style thing as, I do think that people do use the style thing as a cop out
to
not
it as a
try
crutch, yeah.
To not try harder tricks, and which that's like
yeah, but I look sick on my skateboard. No, but they're like, oh yeah, dude's from Boston. You know, he skates gritty spots. He only nose grinded it, and then you're like, okay, well Shane O'Neill went there and back nose blended it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh.
It is funny because I do remember a time in the industry where everybody was super like about East Coast and style, but then you did have like the bigger heads like go to those same spots and crush them. Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Like Chaz Ortiz. No, like Chaz Ortiz though. Like
Where's he from?
He's from Chicago.
Really?
Yeah, but he'll like crush New York and like do all these crazy tricks on a New York spot. But people will hate on him. They'll be like, I don't like his style. It's too like, and that is that is the argument that I don't like. That is what I don't care for when people say that. When they're like, oh well, yeah, but his style sucks. I don't care how good he is. It's like his style doesn't actually suck.
That's me.
Is it
because
really?
I think if they look bad on a board,
but
yeah, right. No, he looks stupid on his skateboard. And he calls himself Steez Ortiz.
Does he call himself that, or do people call himself that?
That's his Instagram name.
It's not his Instagram name.
It's not his Instagram name. Yeah.
He calls himself Steez Ortiz though.
Does he?
I think he writes Steez on his grip tape.
No, yeah, dude, you're full of it. He doesn't do that. My point is, okay, I do like his style.
Hold on.
I think it's sick.
I just want everybody to know that my favorite skateboarder is Dakota Servald.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's killing. Bryan left, so I think that this is done.
I got antsy in my pantsies because I want to film Tanner do a front blunt shove.
Yeah. Dude, I seriously have to go home. I might take an Uber home.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bryan, I want to wait. I gotta shout you out. Bryan, I want to thank you for coming on. I don't even know what I'm gonna call this. I think I need to do like this more officially and give this a name and stuff, but that it doesn't have that yet. Bryan, thank you. Bryan has a YouTube channel also where he skates with friends like me and like Tanner and like other people that you guys would be very excited to watch. His channel is in the description below. I know I forgot to put it in there last night. It will be in there this night, so go over there and watch it. Bryan, thank you so much. Love you.
Bye.
Bye. I told you 8! Oh my god.
I am the one your son knows.
Dale, you know how to do this better than I do, right? Tell the truth.